Hi everyone, this is part 1 of the Laravel9 Vue.js Inertia series. In this episode we'll create a very basic CRUD using Laravel9 Vue.js and Inertia. In the next episode we will add some image uploading using FilePond, and in the final episode we'll create a composite package that will scaffold the CRUD that we've created for us. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start by setting up a new Laravel project. Clear. Now let's install Jetstream. Let's install Inertia. Clear. Let's set up a database connection. Now run the migrations. Let's create a model. And I'm using the -- all option because I want to also create factories, seeders, controls, and migrations. Now let me add columns to my migrations. So my book will have a title, an author, and an image. Okay, let's run it. And I also want to make my columns fillable. Now let's go to the routes and create a route resource. I will use the controller that was generated by the make model command. Okay, so next thing I want to do is I want to share some global variables in my templates. I want the session errors and flash messages be accessible in the templates, so I will share them with the templates using the inertia share method, and after that they will be accessible in every template. I also want to pass the CSRF token in the templates. I will not need it in this episode, but I will need it in the following episode, so I want to pass it now. Okay. Now let's add some code to the controller. Here I just want to grab the books from the database and pass them in the template. I will take 20 per page. And instead of using the regular view facade, I'm going to use the inertia facade. Okay. Now let's add some views. I will go to resources/js/page and create the books.view file. I will create a very simple markup here, And I want to test my global variables, so let me just display the CSRF token here. And for that I want to use page props CSRF token. Okay, let me start my artisan server. Compile my JavaScript. And let's go see it in the browser. Okay, because this URL is protected, I need to log in first. Let me just register. And as you can see, my CSRF token is available in the templates. So now let's go ahead and create a proper view. So I will use this code snippet here. You will find all the code snippets that I'm using in the description to the video. So this layout is pretty simple. It has a header, it has a create button, and it has a list of books. So let me just fill my table with rows here. For item in data.data. Okay, so let me create this table column. Okay, so here goes the ID, the title, the author, and I will leave the image field blank for the moment. And here's the row action snippet. It contains two buttons, the edit button and the delete button. And here I want to add some props in order to be able to access my data variable. Alright, let's refresh. As you can see, my layout is working, but I have no data yet, so let me seed the database with some data. Let me open my book factory, and I will use Faker to create some fake data for me. And I will leave the image field blank. Okay, let me open the seeder. And in the seeder, I'll get my factory. And I want to have 1,000 books and create. And let me call my book seeder here. Now let's db seed. Okay, let's go check it out. Yeah, the data's here. Okay, before I make those buttons clickable, let me add some pagination first. Oh yeah, one more thing. As you can see, the inertia layout is missing. So let me just incorporate it in my books template. So I will import the component, the app layout component. And let me add it to my components here. Let's refresh. Okay, layouts here. One more thing, let's add the books link. Change dashboard to books. Books. And in order for this to work, I need to name my route. So here in my routes, I need to specify the names for the routes resource, but I will only give the name to the index route because that's the only route that I'm going to be using. Let's hit refresh. Okay, the links are working. So let's finally add some pagination. Well, first I need to create a pagination component. So I will create a file named pagination.vue. This component will receive some data from the parent component, so I will need to create my props first. My parameter is called links. Let me add some layout. Here I'm checking if my links length is greater than 3 because my links array also contains the previous and the next buttons. So let me loop through my links here. Here let me add some classes. And some extra classes for the active element. And here the URL and the title. So let me import my component here in the books template. Also add it here. And require it in my HTML and pass my data.links parameters there. Okay, let's build and refresh. Okay, the pagination's here. Okay, next thing I want to do is to create a form. So for that I will need a new component. So let me create my file for it. I will use this layout for my form. All the links for all the layouts are in the description. So as you see, this layout is pretty simple. It is using Tailwind CSS, and it has title, it has author, it has image fields, and it has 3 buttons: save for creation, update for update, and cancel if you want to cancel your form. Now in my script part, I want to initialize the variables that will be available in the component. It will take 3 variables. It will take the form object and 2 Boolean variables. Is open and is added. Okay, now let me incorporate these variables in my HTML. So I will use the isOpen variable here to indicate that the form is open. And I will use my form object as vModel for my inputs. vModel represents two-way binding. And I will leave the image for now. And I want to hide my save button when I'm in the edit mode. And I will hide the update button in the create mode. And let me create the callbacks for my click events. On click, I want to emit the form save event into the parent component. And here I will emit the form close event. Okay, now we're done here. Let's go to the books component. Let's import our form component. Let's include it in the markup. And here in the script part, I want to add some data variables. Here, let me create my default form object because I will use it twice in the code. Okay, now I can pass the data into my form. And let me rename this variable form object. Okay, we're done with the data part. Now let's create some callbacks for the form events. For the form save event, we're gonna have save item. And for the form close, let's have close model. So now let's add these two methods. For now, I will just log my item in the console. And I will close my form by changing the value of this variable. Sorry, I mean this. So let's open the form on click on the create button. And let's add the same method here, only this time with a parameter. And here let's call the delete item method. Now let's create those methods. So in the open form method, we're checking if the item parameter is given. We're triggering the edit mode then. Otherwise, the create mode. And for the moment, let me just stub out the delete item method with the console log call, just like I did with the save item. Okay, let's build and check it out. Okay, let's refresh. Cool, the form is popping up. And if we enter some values here, you see them pop up in the console. And in the edit mode, the ID is present in the object. Okay, now let's go to the PHP controller and make it work. Let me remove the methods we don't need. So let's validate the input first. We'll keep it very simple. Okay. Create the book, store it in the database, and then redirect with a message. Okay, let me just copy and paste it. And here I only need to change this line. And let me just delete it here. Okay, let's go back to the front and implement the save item method. We're going to use the same method for both update and create. If the item has an ID, we will automatically assume that this is update. Let me change the URL and the request method here. And let me send the request using inertia. So on error, callback will be blank for now. And on success, I want to close my model. Okay. And for the delete part, let me confirm it. And if the user confirms, then I will send the post request to my URL. Only I want to specify the method as delete. Okay, let's build it and test it in the browser. Oops, 403. Oh, okay, I think I know what it is. Let's go to the PHP controller. And here I want to authorize my request. I want to do the same for the store request. Let's try it again. Whoops. Oh, okay. I think I forgot to make my image field nullable in the database. Normally you would do it in the migrations, but I want to do it the quickest way, so let me just do it here. Okay, let's go again. Refresh. Yeah, I think it works. Well done. Deletion also works. And can we create a new one? Let's try and create a new one. Okay, there it is. So the one last thing left is to add the error messages for the form and the flash messages for your actions. As you probably remember, we already shared these values in the app's service provider. So the only thing left is to display these values in the templates. Okay, so first let me take my HTML snippet here. Let me check if I have any messages. And if I do have them, let me display them here. And in my form template, I want to do the same for my error messages. I want to display my errors under each input. So let me take this snippet here. Let me check if I have any errors for the title. The same for the author field. Okay, let's build it and test. Okay, my errors work fine. Oh, there is a problem here. You see, I still have my errors from the previous action, but my flash messages are working just fine. So we need to find a workaround for this problem. The leftover error messages. And I think the solution for that will be to reset the error messages every time you open a new form. So let's try and do it. Okay, like this. Okay, let's test it again. Yeah, it works. So let me check all my CRUD now. Let me create a new one. Yeah, it's down there. Now let me delete it. Yeah, it works fine. Thanks for watching this video. In this video we've created a basic CRUD using Laravel, Inertia and Vue.js. In the next episode I will add some image uploading using FilePond. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Bye.